heard the president, and as I say, you know, he was pretty tough in his comments there.
I think it was tough, and he did something that was kind of nuanced to me, which is he was essentially describing the cynical political system we now live in when he spoke about what he called professional activists who profit from conflict. What he's saying is these are people who run against Washington, and then they create the conflict in Washington, which makes Washington look even worse. So it's kind of a vicious cycle. I think it's on both sides of the aisle, quite frankly, these groups. But he was speaking directly to them, which is, you created this. You're the folks who are, in many ways, the puppet masters for lots of those people on Capitol Hill because they're afraid of you. And you created this conflict. And as a result, Washington looks like a terrible spectacle was the word he used. And it's got to stop. So I actually thought it was an interesting speech on kind of the way Washington, unfortunately, works right now.
And whether you agree or disagree with him, very early on he said Washington has to change the way it does business. Remember, that was the Obama 2008 campaign. 5 years into his presidency, he's still frustrated. It's not all his fault. I'm not assigning blame, or let's assign blame to all of them. This town has not changed. This town does not cooperate more. This town does not respect each other more across the aisle. It doesn't talk to each other as much. I also thought, Gloria talked about the nuance. He did take on the system. He also made the case for government. This is a Democratic president whose biggest divide with the Ted Cruz's, with the Tea Party of the world, is about the role of government. Is Washington too big? Does the federal government have too much of a role in people's lives? And there you had the Democratic president making the case that maybe the American people will agree more with him after these last 16 days. In a sense, did the Republicans, what the president said was reckless on behalf of the Republicans, he was trying to make the case there that maybe it will actually help him make the case that government has a good role to play.
Government, if you look at some of these polls, government has grown more popular.
Including Obamacare.
Since the shutdown. Of course, Obamacare too, but government, which is completely unpopular, grew more popular because people realized what was missing from their lives when it shut down.
We'll see how long that lasts.
You speak to some ardent conservatives, Tea Party supporters, and they say, oh, we hate the government's too big. But then when you press them, well, do you like Social Security? 60 million Americans are dependent on Social Security. Do you like Medicare? Tens of millions of Americans. Do you like the U.S. military? All of this is part of big government. And that, if you just take those three categories, Social Security, Medicare, and the military, that's a huge chunk of federal expenditures
every year. His point is fix it. Fix government, but don't throw it away. Don't break it.
A great point of the president. This is the divide between those who would obstruct or try to defund Obamacare through a government shutdown. The president said, you want to do that? Win elections. That's how you do it in democracy. Beat us.
They're trying, right?
And he won by 5 million votes last time around, and Obamacare was a big issue. All right.